Hello and welcome to the read, my tarot friends. This is LowKeyMagickal with a K, hoping you're having a magical day. This is a relationship read based on the tarot cards that I have meditated over, split the deck, chosen the first deck based on intuition. Now, of course, this read is for entertainment purposes only, and it is a general read, so it may not apply to everyone, but we are grown-ups and we can deal with that. All right, here we go. Oh, Cancer, what's been happening with you lately? This first card is wonderful. This is a 9 of Cups, and a lot of people call this a wish granted card. Cups represent our emotions and the things that we truly value and care about. And this man is in celebration because all of his cups are full and they are successfully, stably stacked. And he's got one that he can raise up and say, look how hard I've worked and look at what I've achieved. And this is a result of a lot of internal work. Cancer, that's what I'm seeing for you, is that, and you may not have really taken a moment to realize how many cups you really have and how beautifully stacked they all are. But this is a result of a lot of internal work. This guy looks like a baker to me. To me, the image that I always get from this is an individual that has, I mean, let's go literal. Here's what plays out in my head. He's like a baker, and he's been in charge of a huge banquet, and it went incredibly successfully for him. And in the end, he receives this beautiful toast from everyone around him, and all of these glasses are raised to him because they have an appreciation of the nourishment that he has provided for them. And in this 9 of Cups energy, I feel that for you, that you are one of those individuals who maybe in the past you were accused of like, oh, you give and you give and you give and you never really take care of yourself. But this is someone who can give and give and give, but is still in wonderful shape because he receives as well. He's now mastered that ability to not only give of his cup to others, but also to receive that love from others. And that is an incredibly valuable place to be in. There are a lot of individuals who never quite achieve that balance. They fight for it, but they also have an internal dialogue that says, I give and I give and I give, and no one ever, and there's been something about you that internal dialogue has been able to stop. And wow, the moon comes up next. The moon for me represents things that have been hidden before, possibly coming to light. The moon has some energies in it that are a little bit darker. It is beautifully in balance, and I appreciate that. But it also, listen to me, I appreciate the balance in the art of this card because it does show me that balance has been achieved. But balance has been achieved because of, I want to say literally, the shadow work that you have done. The things that were not so easy to see in the daylight. Those things that remain hidden in the shadows, those things that we don't want to look at. That's what the moon shows us. So from a relationship standpoint, you are in a wonderful place of both giving and receiving. And if you have been the kind of person in the past who has been internally or externally accused of give and give and give and never do receive, there was something that you did in a deep dive, something that you faced that maybe some people would rather be in a cycle of complaining and torturing themselves and howling over rather than doing the deep dive and saying, why am I not receiving? Let's get this knowledge downloaded from the universe right now, because I'm willing to look in those dark places where other people may not be willing to look. And what does that mean, really? Looking in those dark places where other people, it is very easy to blame those outside of us, to howl loudly. when things are not going in our favor, it is much more painful to look inside and say, what of my behaviors have not allowed me to achieve this balance? And why are those behaviors in place? And it doesn't mean that you have to go into every single little pain that you ever received in your entire life. It's just really diving deep and making the decision not to continue that cycle anymore. That's it. Look at those things about yourself that you have been a little bit ashamed of or not really happy about, or things that trigger you a little bit when you think about them. You don't have to take them apart. You just have to say, I'm not going to howl about this anymore. I recognize it's there. I'm going to release it to wherever it needs to go. I'm going to address that unbalanced equation so that it can balance itself out, so that I can receive and give. And why is this happening? Of course, sorry, I get so excited when this happens. My heart starts beating fast. It's the High Priestess. This is information that something about this deeper work that you've done has led you, once again, I feel like we've had this card for you before, Cancer, to deeper knowledge, right? This is an 11. It's an incredibly balanced card, and the figure on this card is just graceful and knows it, and look at that. It's like a surrender. It's like an ecstatic surrender to what is. Ooh, there has been an ecstatic surrender to what is. Wow, I really, really like that. I'm gonna keep that for this card. Once in a while, I'll channel something out of my mouth that it's like, whew, where did that even come from? So, and also there's this light that comes up over here for the High Priestess, and that represents that same spark that we get at the beginning of the universe with the Magician. If you look at that card, he has a very similar spark at the top. That spark of the universe that inspires all growth from that single point. The High Priestess has literally harnessed that energy. She holds it. She uses it at her discretion. She is comfortable in the moon energy, and she fills herself with that ecstasy of that knowledge that she has gained. Wow, this is going so deep. That she has gained through that deeper work that she did. So, whew, wow. Cancer, male or female, understand that because you're willing to dive a little deeper, because you're willing to really unravel and take things apart, different knowledge is opened up to you, and that's what leads you to this fantastic balance and a letting go of something really important. A letting go of this Four of Swords in Cancer. I know that this, whether or not this has to do with Cancer energy, this Four of Swords comes up for you a lot. This is where someone says, hey, why don't you go take a rest for a while? And yeah, you're resting, but are you? Because your thoughts, represented by these swords, continue to pester you even in rest. Now, because notice this, from my perspective, I don't think his eyes are completely closed. I'm just gonna straight up say that, because this is someone that even in their sleep sometimes, and I'm gonna put this back over here because I really feel like this is what you're letting go of. So we're gonna timeline this to the end and call this now a past energy that you no longer have to wallow in. Okay, Cancer? This Four of Swords is where, you know, you're doing a great job, hun. You're doing a great job. You're balanced. You've embraced this new energy. You're living it. You no longer have to lay in bed and torture yourself over whether or not you said the right thing, did the right thing. What am I going to do tomorrow? This is that manager that he's already planning tomorrow's schedule and where everyone's going to go and what's going to, like, he's, okay, go home and rest. It's not your shift. All right, honey, I got it. But he's going to lay there and he's going to think about all of that. This is what you're letting go of. And from a relationship standpoint, this can exhaust your partner, whether you realize that or not. And that's where some of that imbalance has been coming from. I'm going to, hold on a second. I feel like I'm getting a bit of a download on this. You may feel that all of this energy of this restless mind and these are your responsibilities. Absolutely. These are things you should be pondering. Yes. But we can get a handle on that through this work that you've done. You've put in work to help calm this, whether you know it or not. Okay? Have confidence in yourself. That's a big part of this. But when you have this unsettled mind, in the time periods where you are supposed to be at home, involved with your spouse, involved with your kids, you know, maybe doing self-work, whatever, and you are allowing these pointy thoughts of the world to continue to poke on you, even in your sanctuary, yes, that can be very injurious to you, but it can also disrupt that balance in your relationship. So please understand that this is all coming from work that you have done, and it affects more than you. It brings peace to those around you as well, because this, whatever this disrupting energy was, yes, it affected you. And you may go, oh man, yeah, of course it affects me. My worrying, it affects my health, it affects my stress level. It affects those around you as well. And this high priestess that we're coming to, that we've landed on, that I feel, okay, here's the image that I have is like, I don't understand this, a big scoop of ice cream. Like the high priestess has come across this big delicious scoop of ice cream that has been incredibly satisfying and delicious in its frosty newness. And I don't even really understand what that means, but there's something really good and delicious and satisfying that has come to you because of this deep work that you've done. Please embrace it. And in embracing it, let go of those nagging thoughts, of the worrying about tomorrow, of the over ownership of work responsibilities. Because remember, if something happened to you and you were unable to make it to work, let's say, I hate to say things like this, but if you keeled over, they would have you replaced very quickly. That ball would keep rolling. It is important for you to take care of yourself with that. So let those swords go and embrace this high priestess, because you, my friend, can give and receive beautifully balanced. That affects all the relationships around you. That is a giving and receiving of love that does not end and builds upon itself as a 9. Awesome, Cancer. Please own this. This is fantastic. Reach out to me, LowKeyMagickal with a K, on Facebook if you would like a private read. And as always, have a magical rest of your day. Bye-bye.